Hello, everyone. Welcome. I guess we'll talk about the kind of things I want to address on this channel. Um, the It's been decades now watching just a lot of nonsense surrounding some of these subjects of cryptids, and people just jump on bandwagons, certain belief systems, um, with no proof. And there's people out there taking advantage of that, just telling these ridiculous stories. And of course, they're selling books in a lot of cases, and I don't begrudge someone selling a book. Um, but, if it's just bald faced lies, and some of these people are clearly um, they're just clearly not telling the truth. They got these ridiculous stories they've come up with. This kind of thing, it muddies the water. That's best phrase I can think about it. People can't see clearly what's real and what's not. Um, they don't know what real evidence is. They don't know what to believe. It's like watching the news. At some point, you just got to turn it off because, you see two different versions of the same story, and you're pretty sure that neither one of them's exactly how things went down. Um, so entering into the YouTube world, I wasn't sure I was ever going to do this, but got to looking at a lot of these different channels, these creators trying to address this subject. And some of them just are clearly not being honest, in my opinion. Just believing any story. They don't want you to scare off people from telling their story. They say because you're helping that person and we're getting more information and all that stuff. I think what they really want is for people to come on their show and tell their story, because that's all their show really does, is have people tell stories. Seldom any evidence at all, just a story. We don't know if we can believe it. This person could be insane. They could be a liar, a hoaxer. It's probably a very small number of them that are actually true. And so I don't think some of these channels are being honest that they want to help people. They want content. They probably don't want to actually find or prove that Sasquatch exists, or Dogman exists, or even ghost aliens, because the gravy train stops once those things are proven. People are going to be able to hear all about it on the news, and your channel doesn't have as much of a corner on that market anymore. So yeah, I want this to be a place where people can be sure that they're not going to be led astray. If someone does come on here and talk to me, and they have some ridiculous ideas, well, you know, I'm not going to hide it from them that I think it's ridiculous. I'm not going to make them feel comfortable. If Dr. Johnson comes on here, um, I think he's completely full of it. I don't know how anyone could possibly believe a word that comes out of his mouth. He's welcome to come on here and try, but I'm not just going to believe Dr. Johnson out of hand like you see a lot of these channels doing. Hey, Brandy, finally on here. Well, thank you. Had to keep it hidden. There were nobody here, so I just started talking about some of the things I want to kind of address on the channel. After a few minutes of trying to figure some stuff out, I think there's some background sound, but I don't think it's bad enough to worry about. Luckily, the storm stopped, and the goose shut up. But yeah, I'm tired of all the nonsense being pushed out there. Very few, thanks. Very few YouTube channels seem to be interested in keeping things strictly factual. I mean, if things turn out to be crazy, hey, that's interesting, but we need evidence of that. We can't just believe anything. So hopefully this stream's all right. This Wi-Fi out here on the farm is often finicky, but it looks like things are working okay. All right. What else did I need to say on here? Yeah, they're delayed a little bit. But yeah, I mean, as a lot of people in the chats have probably seen, and others have commented on, if you question too much on some of these channels, you end up getting banned from chat. And I'm banned from, I think, 6 or 7 channels now. And I won't do that in the chat here. I don't care what people say. They can cuss me all they want. I don't care. I mean, as long as they're not trying to do something that's going to get the channel shut down or something. I don't know what you could do to do that, but can't count anymore. Oh, how many channels? that you're banned from? Hey, I just figured out how to do that. I'm brand new with this thing. Oh, yeah. I probably should keep a list somewhere. Yeah, there's too many, but I mean, if someone has, you're an angel. Uh, I mean, it was so hard to sit through that, Dr. Johnson interview, for example. And, I mean, this guy's obviously taking us for a ride, a serious ride. And we can't comment on that in the chat. He don't have to read it. And people are gonna buy whatever he's selling. Well, I don't. When I commented on a show, and there was a response to it that he thought I had a point, that our lack of information may actually put us in danger with some of this stuff out there, whatever is out there. We need accurate information, and when people are lying and telling crazy stories and preventing us from getting to the bottom of things, well, that could potentially put people at risk. Now, I don't feel like I'm at risk. Question. People are the only thing that's dangerous to me in the woods. Black bears run away, cougars, they'll usually not mess with an adult man, but even when I thought I sensed something watching me that was out of the norm, which I felt was possibly Sasquatch, wasn't afraid of. But people, you never know what a person's going to do. Some people are insane. You think she blew the dress? Yeah, exactly. If they're not willing to answer those questions, then maybe there's a reason. They don't have to, I guess. I mean, they're free to. That tells me they don't got an answer for me. That's hello, Paula. Welcome. Is anything in particular y'all want to talk about tonight? How about them aliens? I imagine with all the bells and whistles on this stupid thing. Yeah, I would. Hopefully we learn more about this disclosure nonsense. Decades now, they've denied they even exist. They've lied for decades, and now they give us a short little document admitting they exist. I think because they they're caught. There's too many victims, or not victims. Uh, too many witnesses and too many cameras, and they just can't deny it anymore. And that's the only reason they're telling us anything at all right now. So when they say they don't know what they are, is anyone believing this? They lie about everything. Well, Anunnaki. I don't think I've seen anything that really proves that any of that whole deal. What was that guy's name that was the proponent of that? Was that Sitchin? I think. I mean, it was a great story, but you know, what actual evidence was there for it? Seemed to be in and on. A lot of people were kind of on this bandwagon of ancient aliens affecting humanity in the past. There were a lot of different things that people said that they're responsible for these big megalithic structures, that they enslaved the human race and made us mind gold and apparently supposedly genetically modified us and all this stuff, and just none of it holds any water that I can tell. There's no evidence for any of that. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Yeah, some people. Yeah, I've heard people say a lot of crazy stuff, trying to say that you know, you're referring specifically to Christian theology there. That they think that God and Jesus and stuff were actually these aliens that created this, which, you know, it's an interesting story. It's just I see no evidence for it. I remember back in like 2001 or something like that. Internet was young, and I ran across this website one time where this guy, he had this whole thing. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful story. He should have turned it into a novel. He was saying that basically he was saying Jedis were real, like Star Wars Jedi Knights, but the JE stands for Jesus and the DI stands for disciple. Jedi Knights were Jesus' disciples. It was crazy. It was wild. I mean, it was, but who could possibly believe that stuff? I don't know about the 14 tablets. Are you talking about the cuneiform tablets? I think it was the same ones that Sitchin was getting all his ideas from. I need to revisit that. It's been 15 years since I even took a look at that whole idea. I think where I was at the time was that it was the translation was not particularly accurate. That he was, you know, was just trying to make it fit what he wanted to fit. But you know, even if it was accurate, you know, we're talking about some people that had to write on stone tablets. They didn't, you know, they didn't know wasn't a computer. So these people didn't, you know, I mean, they probably barely understood the Earth wasn't. But so these would just be their myths. I mean, again, I need to see some evidence of this stuff. You know, when he's saying that people have been modified by aliens, and some people saying we have actual alien DNA in it. Well, mainstream science all the time, but I'm not prepared to just throw away the genetics of humanity just yet. You know, when people try to say, well, how did the two chromosomes fuse? Because we have two chromosomes that are fused end to end somehow, and they're like, how could that possibly happen? You know, and that's why we have one less chromosome than chimpanzees. And they're like, well, that's the reverse of evolution. Shouldn't evolution increase the number of chromosomes and all this nonsense? And well, unless there's a chromosomal fusion, and they're like, well, somebody must have done this, is what it was. Well, if that's true, then why did they do it to other animals that also have a similar chromosomal fusion? It didn't run special. I can't remember what other animals it was. I want some kind of impala or something, but a chromosomal fusion is not proof that somebody genetically modified humanity. And then when you look at the two chromosomes, I mean, they match up perfectly with the two chromosomes that correlate with the chimpanzee. So it's just, you know, as far as the genetics on those chromosome parts. So nothing's been tampered with, unless all of genetics is hiding this from us. And I just can't imagine thousands of geneticists are in on a conspiracy to hide DNA evidence that we have alien DNA or that we've been purposely modified by somebody in the past. Yeah, I haven't looked into the translation enough. I don't think, though. I'm not. I don't. I'm not. I'm not. I don't think I'm prepared to tear it down entirely. I didn't. Sitchin's claims were so ridiculous that I didn't waste too much time on it. And I've forgotten most of it. So, you know, it goes right into that Ancient Aliens TV show. It was fun to watch. And when Giorgio Tsoukalos, I think his name was, the crazy hair, and he funny to watch. Boiled down, basically, they were showing you evidence that somebody did all this stuff. None of it proves aliens did anything. It just proves that somebody had to make all this stuff, you know, and you apply a little Occam's razor to the scenario, and well, you know, generally it means simplest explanation is probably the truth. And the simplest explanation is that there was a civilization of humans who made all that in the past, and that we've since smacked down, which is evidence for that. Trying to remember, like Randall Carlson is he's a guy he's into all the geology and archaeology surrounding the proof that there there's a just a massive amount of, I think it was roughly 13,000 years ago, astronomical impact that screwed the planet. 160 plus species of megafauna went extinct. Humanity to the Stone Age. The sea levels came up about 400 feet as a result of that. Most human settlements are along seashores even today because it's just the nature of what we are. We're semi-aquatic. That's something I'm definitely going to talk about at some point in the future. Is about the humans being a semi-aquatic coastal marine ape and how that affected our development and our breeding, why we are the way we are today. But so, we tend to congregate near seashores. We like to be by the water, even if most people don't know why. They just think they like it. But people back then were no different. So when the sea level rose 400 feet, well, most of civilization was flood. Today we have this story of a worldwide flood. Well, what I'm describing is not a worldwide flood, but it's a pretty damn big flood, and it was civilization. Impact crater. This is called impact hypothesis, I guess would be the appropriate term for it. Although I think the evidence is enough that they can go beyond hypothesis with this. But the impact crater is in Greenland. Randall Carlson found lots of really crazy evidence that this happened. Structures around the world. Basically, we have a recipe for, we had a fairly advanced civilization back then that built some stuff that we would have a really hard time building today. And they got bitch slapped by a asteroid or a comet or something, that whatever hit in Greenland, and knocked back into the Stone Age. And so how does this affect what are UFOs, right? Well, we don't know. I'm sure. I don't believe the government when they say they don't know. I think they're lying, but I don't know that they are lying. I have to concede that. But if we are to entertain for a moment that all these reports of these gray aliens that come from some kernel of truth somewhere, which I don't know, but let's say they did, that's humanoid shaped. If it's an alien from another planet, it's probably not going to look that much like it. As they describe it, looks like a version of humans. No different, no more different than from us than it is from a pug dog or something. If you look at those two dogs next to each other, they are very different. A lot of difference in size, in mass. Even though a pug is not a very big dog, that thing is probably 3 times the weight of a Chihuahua. And can't breathe worth a damn. And Chihuahuas don't understand they're this tall. They think they're still wolves or something. Anyway, the point is they're so drastically different, but they're both the same species. So, certainly, again, this would just be things, those great alien. Isn't it more likely that they are just another breed of humans? I mean, like, there's some people out there that want they are part alien, that they've been being programmed, or that they've produced half-breed aliens. Okay, if that was true, how can you breed with something from another planet? You can't even breed with a dog. It don't work. The DNA don't work. Something from a totally different planet is not going to be compatible. But if they're a breed of human, they could. But, I still want to specify this is all speculation. I don't know if these alien things exist. People could just be, they saw a TV show, and it's in the public consciousness, and then other people start hearing it, and then, next thing you know, people are seeing shit. Granted. See, I saw a little buffering there. I'm not coming through very well. The mind will play tricks on you. No matter how clear-headed you think you are, it'll play tricks on you. I don't know if there's anything I can do about it either. In or out. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything I can do about it. So one of these days I'll figure out to put a clip on here about what I was getting ready to say. I like to think I'm real clear-headed and can't be. Have you heard of the Mandela effect, right? That's where people remember things happening differently, and they have this idea that reality has been edited somehow. So when I think back to the movie, most of them I'm like, well, could be not. I probably just misremember Berenstein Bears, and I don't think I ever could have gave two shits what was going on, but apparently that's something people remember differently than what they think than what reality is. But I remember the movie Moonraker, though. Pay a whole lot of attention to it, but I remember the scene where Dolly comes out and Jaw under this big wheel thing, and he's having a hard time getting up under it. She helps him, and then he smiles at her, and he has those metal teeth, and then she smiles back at him. And I could swear she had braces on. You go watch the movie, there are no braces on that girl. There's pigtails and glasses and all that, but there's no braces. Well, they claim that those of us that remember braces on her, that there was braces on her, and reality has been altered. Okay, I'm having a hard time believing that. You're going to have to show me some kind of evidence for this, because apparently even people have talked to the actress, and she's like, there's never been braces on there. But what I do know is mind is pretty darn good at filling in blanks. Where if there's to fill that in with whatever makes the most sense to it. Now, when I think back to that scene, if I was writing that, I have a pretty interesting in telling the story appropriately and making things makes sense, and it doesn't make sense that she doesn't have braces on. He smiles at her and has these metal chompers, and when she smiles back, it would be so perfect if she had braces on. So I think my mind, working the way it does, filled in that blank. It's like, even though you watched the movie and she didn't have braces, we're going to put braces on her in your head because that makes more sense than the damn movie does. And it does. I'm sticking to that. They should have put braces on her, but but their claim in reality has actually been changed, that she did have braces, and that's why some of us remember it. I think they're underestimating the ability of the human mind to fill in blanks. This is where we get the pareidolia. People, especially if they're out there trying to find Sasquatch, well, your mind knows that. They know that you're after, so it's going to be really trying hard to find that. And it'll probably piece it together for you. Probably because your subconscious mind's sick of being out in the woods and wants to go home. So, Brandy, do you have any that you're real sure of? Any Mandela effects? I mean, I don't know. There's some weird ones, like the JFK thing. That word's probably a red flag word, so I'm not going to say it. But and now I don't even remember. There was an issue with how many seats were in the car. Go look at that one. How many seats were in the car that he was in? But I mean, again, how much attention were we paying to these things when I watched Moonraker, or when I saw the old video of the JFK thing? I don't think I was paying close enough attention to these certain details to say what was real. I think my mind just filled in the blanks that seemed more appropriate. And it's probably a good thing it's doing that. I'd probably be dead by now if it didn't figure some stuff out. I'd like to think whatever layer driving this van when I'm tuned out. I always get there. I don't remember driving part of the trip, but I get there. So somebody in there takes care of it. I'm not sure about the Berenstein Bears one. Just not sure about it. But yeah, I wonder where Mr. Lee 3PO is at. I saw him over there on that show that you and I were talking about last night. It's interesting looking at the chat over there. It's almost solid donors and wrenches. I think that's really telling. The person isn't a donor or holding a wrench. It doesn't last in that chat. I mean, it was a solid, you know, dollar signs and wrenches. Another movie with a Mandela effect. It's been a while since I really looked at much of this stuff. I've forgotten most of them because I just don't see any evidence for it. It could all be people just misremembering things. I know people. I know people don't. They don't like to think that they can be tricked. Um, but anyone can be tricked. You know. That doesn't mean. You know. It's not. It doesn't mean anything bad about you. It doesn't make you a moron or anything like that. It just means that, you know, sometimes your mind or your eyes can play tricks on you. I mean, if I looked hard enough in that tree line, I'm sure I would see some faces in it or something. Some, not all, but some only make mods to basically, in my opinion, keep those people around, makes them feel special. I don't know if you recall, there was a number of times when Mr. Lee 3PO was trying to talk, I think, Mogs in another place to make me a mod, and I'm like, I don't want to be a mod. Screw that. I'm not going to ban anybody. I mean, YouTube does it on their own. Like because I jump back and forth and check sometimes because I'll put something and I expect a response from somebody's got to respond to this. It's crazy, and nobody responds. Well, if I jump over and look from another account, it's not there. The YouTube censors itself, so don't we just trust in YouTube to censor itself and just don't worry about it? And if someone's saying something I don't like, well, I don't have to read. If I see their name, I can just skip over the next comment. I can't keep up with the chat half the time anyway. It's going too fast. You know, I don't have to stop and read if I don't, especially if it's someone I don't, or they're messing with me. I don't really have to, you know, and I'm being hypocritical, weird stuff that's been going on lately, but in a way, you know, if they're saying stuff in the chat, they're being open about it. They're being a goddamn man about it. Then I'm like, well, shit, I want to go call me cockroach and stuff. Well, stomp some cockroaches, then fine. If you want to, I think if the banning needs to happen, it would need to be some serious shit. Yeah. I just hesitate to do it though. Too many. Freedom is right now, and in ways that open. Walmart's open. They're basically happy. You know, they're not paying attention to what's happening. Erosion of liberty is seriously happening right now. People need to start taking note. Now, last year, all that crap that happened, I think woke up a whole new mess of people. Um, but even some of them are still, better be careful how I word this, buying the official story. Which gets us back to disclosure again. Came out of the government's mouth. You're really going to believe it. If it comes out of the media's mouth, are you really going to believe it? They're twisting it somehow. Some part of it is a lie. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what it would take to get me. You know, I feel like I need to live up to my ideal that there needs to be freedom of speech. Period. That's because the moment you start infringing upon that liberty, you end up on this slippery slope, and next thing you know, today I typed in. I was making a joke with it, but in the part of the joke was the genus name of humans. YouTube censored that out. Try very hard not to think about the current state of our nation. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll sadly but try. If I can stay out here in the woods, almost ignore it, but there's Wi-Fi. and and you know, it's like I don't watch politics. Has been my sports for a lot of my life, but uh, after after this last round, obvious cheating, and I didn't have a dog in the race. You know, I wasn't going to vote for either one of those pricks. But I was fairly certain, you know, based on the climate of what people were thinking and feeling and saying, and I was fairly sure the outcome was not going to be what it turned out being. So, you know, so this last round became the vote is an illusion. I mean, I still went to the poll. Um, I didn't vote for who I chose. I gave my vote to someone else, and just because my vote mattered anyway for one, so it didn't matter. But it was my mother's suggestion. My grandfather had recently died, and so I gave my vote to him. But like I said, the election, nobody had. Well, somebody had a choice, but wasn't the voters. See if I get banned for that. They're censoring a lot of comments mentioning that whole scenario as well. So yeah, we don't even know what's true. You're supposed to be able to go to the new unbiased reporting, but I'm not. So, you know, obviously, mean, I react to some of the stuff in this whole cryptid community nonsense. I am up with liars. I don't want to play nice with them. I don't want to, you know, I mean, I want them to be able to say what they want to say, but I have to rip their ass out, you know, and can't do that in a lot of these chat rooms. I just had to go live. Not everyone can see how you speak. Your way of questioning is not meant to come off as rude. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to, but you know, I'm wondering why. You know, when I got Yahoo over there calling me a cockroach, and the other one saying I'm on the special bus, and you know, these guys are not refraining from being rude. And but you know, what do we expect from someone who's going to spin absolute bullshit and just spoon it out to people who desperately want to believe certain things about Bigfoot or aliens or ghosts or whatever. They want it to fit whatever belief they prefer. And so these people are just feeding their confirmation bias, and I don't think that's cool. I don't think you're certainly not helping that person. That person's not living in reality. If their belief is not correct about these subjects, then they should get the truth. But you have people out there that are, you know, using that against those people. And if we can try to stop some of that on the right train of thought, a train of thought that will lead us to whether you like it or not. You know, I mean, if I find out Bigfoot's a demon, I don't like that idea. Any evidence of it. I hope they're just a nice force people. I think what we've seen so far fairly well, but we're just not to the conclusive part yet. Yeah, have to set mine aside sometimes. You know, I hope they're just nice, just people, just like us. They're just a little bigger and hairier, but you know, I'll take whatever the truth is. I want what the truth is. So far, it appears that they are just a flesh and blood type of people. But that's scary enough, though, because, you know, a bad human could hurt a lot of people. And if they're a bigger, stronger type of person, type of human, and they can do a lot of hurt. Like the story, if the story is true from the tribe that I'm a member of, according to the story, they thought they were wild people or something coming in to steal their food, their livestock, and they started stealing kids. Well, this hacked them off, so they got a bunch of people together with what was his name? I think it was in McCurtain County, Oklahoma, but it was I think he's called Captain LaFleur, I want to say. Uh, go find whoever it is that's been stealing their children and their livestock, and they're gonna mess them up. Well, they get out there and they find what they were looking for, but they described it as these 8 men or something, and they fought them. They had, these men had guns, but they didn't seem to do a whole lot, at least not first. Again, this is a story. Who knows what really happened? But according to the story, Captain LaFleur, attacked pretty much first, and one of these big hairy people ripped his head off. And they did. According to the story, they didn't have time to react, but when they did, they started shooting. They were able to kill 2 of these. One limped away. I guess there was 3, and they chased it down, and they killed it as well and cut its head off. And they said they found, I don't know, the bodies of 7 to 9 children, something like that. And it's a messed up story. Yeah, I mean, if they're just flesh and blood people, it could still be a crazy, dangerous thing out there. But I don't know. I wondered, even when I was in the hills and the creeks, and nothing's ever really happened. You would think if these things were really out there trying to hurt people, as much time as I spent out there, and as small as I was when my mother finally gave up on keeping me contained, something would have got me. You would have thought you couldn't keep me in town. I loved collecting snakes and tarantulas and turtles and fish and fossils, stuff like that. But so maybe they just calmed the hell down once humans started showing up with guns, and they were like, we need to stop killing people, stop stealing children from the Indians, because if that story is true, McCurtain County, so I think they call it a Bigfoot War or something. If that story is true, that was a pretty messed up situation. 3 Sasquatch involved, all got killed. Maybe one of their buddies was around and saw this happen and went and told everybody else. I hope they did, because said, look, don't mess with these humans, stop stealing their kids. But again, I don't know if that story's true. All I know is if there's something that dangerous out there, and as much time as I've been out there alone, unarmed, I don't know. Even the cougars, I know there's cougars around. Some people try to say they're not, but they are. Cougars are kind of afraid to jump around. I'm not worried about them at all, but when I was little, when I think about some of the places I was and how easy it would have been when I was so young, but yeah, no. But I'll take whatever the truth is. I want the evidence. I mean, I hope that they're just a flesh and blood being, but if they to be whatever these ridiculous stories, turning into orbs, half alien, freaking demons like that Gary really trying to push this. They're demons. They're all demons to Gary. And I tried asking him for evidence, and he doesn't have any. He doesn't knows by looking at it. Hello, Iron Dogger. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Almost all tribes have stories, histories about beings that resemble the hairy man. Some say they told these stories to keep kids out of the forest. Spiritual, and I feel like there's more coming. With Journey in the Forest, there are many different opinions on the tribe's histories. Well, and yeah, that's why I say this. It's it is just a story. We don't know if it's true. I mean, we have a tribe up here that believes the entire world exists on the back of a gigantic turtle. We literally. So tell a story that thought this I thought this for sure I'd run into a lot more problems. I really didn't know what the heck I was doing, but here we are. Iron Dogger's home, huh? So yeah, whatever the truth is, give me the truth. I'll take it. I've had to so many things that I used to think were true because I got better information, new information, and had to change my thoughts. And but I mean, usually you're not looking to change your thoughts when it's something you've just been taught your whole life, and you have no reason to question it. I mean, I know a lot of people see me mention quantum physics has problems. I'll start questioning it because there's some issues with it, and of course, most people don't. They say the term quantum physics, and they're like, what I'm going, it gets crazy, and it is a lot of stuff that some of these theorists are trying to tell you is nuts, and yeah, head with his quantum Bigfoot stuff. I'm like, well, if you're trying to understand Strange's observations of Bigfoot through the lens of quantum physics, when quantum physics has some serious problems with it, you're not ever going to get to the truth. And that's not even considering that the Strange's observations are all either lies or hallucinations or mistaken observations. I have to show you how to do it next, huh? Yahoo laying outside my bed swing, letting my body recover. Yeah, it's weird stuff. And the Blackfoot tribes in Montana will welcome you if you have at least 17% native in you. I'd love to speak to them. Yeah, I don't think a lot of the tribes would agree to that kind of situation. I mean, they might. Maybe they're, want members, but I get the feeling that some of these tribes would like to kind of get rid of some of their people. They'll, I don't know. In Oklahoma, we have so many tribes, and especially with my work in the past, and I saw it's funny stuff happens. A lot of them don't like each other, and you kind of I don't think I haven't heard of any of them taking a DNA test to bring you in. You have to have a roll number and do all that. Only reason I got my membership is my mother did that. She thought it was important. And so there it is. I don't know what to do with it, but there it is. Yeah, but I think that's partly because you can't understand something that doesn't make any damn sense. Take, even some of the most basic observations. They're like the double slit experiment. They set up this experiment, and they said, okay, we expect the results to either be a particle or a wave. Never considered that there might be another option. They just, that was their first mistake. And then, depending on the conditions, they got results for both. So instead of saying, well, there's something wrong with the experiment or the original supposition, we need to go back to the drawing board and redesign the entire thing and our hypothesis from the beginning. They didn't do that. They just threw up their hands and said, it must be both. No, it can't be both. That don't even make any damn sense. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's crazy. And, they're still trying to figure out grand unification. Well, did you guys think for maybe just a second that the puzzle pieces that you constructed don't fit together because at least one of them is incorrect? They've made lots of great observations, but they've made a lot of incorrect interpretations, like dark matter. They are assuming that their observations indicate there's a bunch of this dark matter out there instead of recognizing that there's some other options. And I don't want to go down that road. That's going to get too crazy for a cryptid. But it's very interesting. Yeah, no shame. I think everybody has a chief somewhere in their bloodline. Well, do you know if any of your ancestors were on the rolls? Because if you can prove that, you should be in. I don't know if you want in. I mean, depending on who you ask. Somebody was in the chat the other day that said in one of these shows I was watching that they said they were actually from the Lumbee tribe, and I remembered that from a John Stossel special report he did called Freeloaders, and when I saw kind of the preview of this, I thought, oh crap, he's going to get in trouble for this one. And he talked about corporate welfare and rich people getting welfare. He even talked about himself because there was like a storm that came in and damaged his beachfront home, and he got some kind of assistance. And anyway, then he moved on to the tribes, and I thought he was seriously going to be raked over the coals for this one. But he talked to the Lumbee tribe, representatives of the Lumbee tribe, who were not recognized federally, did not want to be recognized federally because they saw what that does. That government dependence creates social ills. So many of the tribes have such a high incidence of substance abuse and domestic violence and all these issues. And the Lumbee tribe, they felt that was caused by being on the government check, so they didn't want to be part of that. They said all our people have jobs, our tribe owns a chain of banks, we're good. So I guess John Stossel managed to avoid trouble for that one. Just found out it was on my mom's side. Thought my whole life it was my father's side. Could be both. When I was researching my family history, I mean, there was a lot of stuff in there I didn't know was there. I haven't done a DNA test, but it's based on written history from family members and that are gone. Apparently, I'm English, French, Irish, Swedish, Choctaw, Chickasaw, uh, Cherokee, a little bit of some other stuff in there. I never even knew any of that. Not really. I mean, John Stossel lied about the Pebble Mine in Alaska. He's not high on my list of respectful journalists. Yeah, and I ain't saying he's, anything. It was just I remembered that particular report, and you know, I think uh, the conclusion of that was correct. For people to try and stand on their own, because I've seen it, a little bit here, even in Oklahoma. Like this one fella, you got to check. He's a member of the tribe, and he just got a regular check, and so he really didn't do anything. He didn't work, and so he just drank and smoked weed all the time, and just never did anything with his life beyond that. I mean, he did some dancing, but I didn't think it was. He could have done it. He could have been much more. And I think that challenge of having to stand on your own 2 feet helps people to do reach their potential better. But I don't know how we got on that. It's a horrible career to have if you're okay with lying. Who, John Stossel? Journalism? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it seems like it's nothing but lies anymore. I mean, there's a little kernel of truth in there. It's enough to make you think. It's just like, old Adolf. Adolf knew this, right? Put a little kernel of truth in there so people know, oh, I know that part's true. So probably the rest of it's true. Well, no. No. Most of it's lies. Hello, hello, something to Sasquatch about. This is the. I see it spinning a few, but I think we're holding. I hate this Wi-Fi just doesn't hold up as good as I would like. What's going on? Something to squatch about. Anything in particular you want to talk about? I think we've hit a lot of stuff. Yeah. One of these days. Hopefully I won't have to stay here much longer. I mean, the farm's great and all, but I need to go somewhere where I can make money. Now, yeah, it's going to have good enough, I guess. How much I was perusing Facebook and more bees posting from folks. But is that what you or BS posting? He was he's always alien. Were you listening when we were talking about ancient aliens earlier? I mean, it's a fun idea, but um, people think that because they hear sometimes they say, "Well, we were only in the Stone Age back then." I'm like, well, humans have been in this basic form for a very long time. We could have had the rise and fall of a dozen civilizations by this point. I mean, why do they want to take that away from us and give it to aliens uh, that for whatever reason decide to come here? Why would they come here? See, this is another thing. Everyone assumes that aliens are going to even want to go anywhere. I mean, what could they possibly want here other than to explore or learn? But you think about it, this is an alien planet to them. Everything's probably poisonous. It's not made for their physiology. They can't just eat anything. That maybe they want to mine stuff, but if I want a bunch of iron and platinum, I'm better off just going finding a nice planetary floating around in space with that might protest. It's just that whole thing about gold mining on Earth. I was like, why would they want a gold mine on Earth? It's the reason why it's valuable is partly because it's hard to find. It's hard to get. It's too heavy. It likes to be in the core or deep in the mantle more than anything. Just, I mean, they come down and go, well, people have been existence basically. Yeah. I mean, there's no reason to think that I mean, when you look at these ancient structures that we can't even say, like, there's to build with such huge stone. They gave us this idea of these slaves with rollers and ropes and ramps, and no, there's no way somebody put. There's just no way. That's just so ridiculous that I can't even put it to words. Um, but if they had a handle on the manipulation of gravity, things change. And then we get that question: why build out of stone? They had to have why build such huge stones, structures that would last many thousands of years? Why would they build something like that? It doesn't. Most people are happy to have a hut. Well, that's all I need. I need a damn hut. Why do I need a freaking pyramid? And they tried to sell us on this idea that, well, they believe this and blah, blah, blah. It's a religious thing. Granted, religions do some big, cool stuff sometimes. I just don't know. I mean, pyramids is pretty crazy. So, why? There was a point made in the Ancient Aliens TV show, and it was actually a good point. It's just that they were trying to say aliens were involved somehow in everything on that show. So, but the point was that because when we build stuff out of stone or bricks or stuff, we use small manageable pieces, and we put big things together with smaller stones, or we pour concrete. Why would they cut the biggest damn stones you can with great precision somehow and build out of that instead? Unless it was somehow easier for them to do it that way. It's easier to cut one big stone and move it. Well, why would it be? Because they had a handle on gravity somehow. They had a way of manipulating gravity. There's a guy who is on track with the correct science. Maybe in the future I'll mention him. He's made these simple little devices that cancel out some of the gravity. You have to move them for the effect to take place, but he's already starting to prove that gravity can be manipulated. You just got to know how. So who's to say that those ancient people didn't know how? They moved a lot of freaking big stones all over the world. Must have been somehow easier for them to do it. Again, we don't know for sure, but come on. One thing I can confidently say is, in my mind, it doesn't make sense that we alone in the only planet that can say. No, I'm not denying that at all. I think it's an almost absolute certainty that there are thousands of civilizations in our galaxy. The Drake equation thing, I don't like that because they're making a lot of assumptions. Well, we can kind of figure out how many civilizations. Well, we don't really know all that, but at least I think they're thinking along the right track. We know that microbial life can survive the vacuum and extreme temperatures of space. So every time a planet with some life on it is hit by a meteor or gets cracked in half by a larger object, pieces fly out, and those can carry life, and they could be floating for a billion years out there and land on other planets and seed life there. So even if someone has a problem with abiogenesis, life, just the molecules and the cellular structures coming together on their own, even if they have a problem with that happening very often, it only had to happen once somewhere in billions of galaxies, each with billions of planets. It only had to happen in one place, and then it could have spread from there, which they call panspermia. Um, and then some number of those is going to become uh, intelligent. So yeah, I think it's absolute certainty. I'm just questioning, with the vast interstellar distances, the tremendous amount of time that would be invested and resources. How many alien civilizations are really going to want to stop by and see a bunch of, you know, ground apes who are probably not that remarkable in the grand schemes of things. They might come to see Bigfoot, though. I'm not saying there hasn't been any here or there might not be here, but, you got freaking some of these people trying to say there's all these dozens of different species coming here. And yeah, what's his nuts come up with this blue avian alien. Okay, it's an anthropomorphized blue bird. He needs to work on his imagination because that wasn't a great alien. It's the dumbest. Just happens to be about the same size as humans, and it's bipedal, but it's a bird. No, come on, man. Let's see. Yes, they would want something similar to their environment because it's beneficial. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the only reason for aliens to come here is in that case, or if they're just interested in discovery and exploration, or maybe a slight possibility that there's an interstellar government in place that, okay, these humans are starting to, Prime Directive style Star Trek. The only thing in Star Trek that may be remotely close to what reality is, right? Because everything else is just crazy. But the Prime Directive might make sense. With these humans are starting to go into space, and we need to stop by and say hi and say, look, we got a government out here. You guys, are certain things you can't do. Can't be, interfering with the younger races. Can't be enslaving people and blowing shit up. You keep that on your own planet. But beyond that, whatever. You find yourself very interesting. Yes, there's at least a dozen aliens that are coming to Earth just to see you. Guarantee it. They got to beam down Bigfoot. Maybe we should talk to Dr. Johnson. What's his name? Matthew. Maybe we should talk to him. That dude, man, it was a wild story. There was someone on one of the Bigfoot shows that even said that the story that Dr. Johnson told was kind of ripped off from a Star Wars novel somewhere. I haven't been able to confirm that. It would be funny to see if that's true. I haven't read any Star Wars novels, so I can't say, and I don't plan to. But that would be freaking funny. The Tracons are coming, yeah. Yeah, those are the other, like they're the, how'd it go? They were the bad guys, and Dr. Johnson's insane story. Yeah, just say no to the Tracons. Yeah. I don't know. I want to see the actual evidence of stuff, though. Love the idea that Sasquatch is another type of human, another breed of human. Um, I mean, it would be cool if there was another intelligent species, but it just that when you're looking at this thing, the feet, the footprints, footprint evidence is evidence. It's an entire science. If you find footprints and you can authenticate they weren't fake, which that's a whole nother bag of nonsense. Something made those footprints. So, well, these footprints they're clearly of a type of human. Even with the differences they have, that's not remotely enough of a difference to take it into being a different species. Going back to the dog example again, look at all those breeds of dogs. They're all the same species. Pugs, Chihuahuas, Saint Bernards. They're like, I don't know how many. Saint Bernard's like 50 times heavier than a Chihuahua. But they're the same species. Sasquatch has this upright stance. I mean, if you believe the PG film and some of the other ones that look pretty convincing, it's an upright, basically human-shaped looking thing, and it has feet that fit with human. So to me, it's most likely it's a race of people. It's Homo sapiens, most likely. But I'm not prepared to say that for certain until we have more evidence. We just don't have enough. Let's see. Heard that too. It's possible. All right. Talking about Matthew Johnson. I saw that long interview. It was like a 2-hour interview. It was like, man, they were killing me. Yeah, probably was. There was an episode of The Outer Limits called The Borderlands, I believe. What does that pertain to? Old episode, very similar to the Portal opening story. Kind of an old comic book series where Zorth is the leader of a planet. Was that a Star Wars story, or is there something else? My concern with the doc is he is a professional psych doc who knows how to manipulate. Yeah. Well, that's interesting that you say that. I spent 11 years on a college campus. People called me a professional student for a reason. I didn't want to leave. I was interested in so many subjects, and when I finally wandered into the counselor's office for personal things were changing in my personal life, and I decided, okay, I need to graduate and get on with real life, right? So I went to the counselor's office, and that was in my 7th year on campus. Didn't want to leave, but kind of felt like I should if I was going to do what is expected of me, right? And he looked at my transcripts, and there's all these different subjects, and it's mostly science, but then there's economics and all kinds of stuff. And he said, see, this is why we tell you to come in when you're a sophomore. And I said, hold on. I know. I'm having fun here learning stuff. But if you look at my transcript, I have all the credits I need. Um, the last one or two is I'm already enrolled for this semester, and it'll be done. I don't have the normal minor, but I have a minor that work works well enough with this particular major, and I don't because I didn't like the other minor. I took some courses in it, but I didn't like it. Um, and he looked at it. He said, "Fine," and he signed off on it. Like normally they have to counsel you and set your schedules and stuff, but anyway, that went off. That diverged, but anyway, I was running dormitories. That was what my job was there, and I stayed there 11 years and had a lot of psych students. I'll try not to be too impolitic about this. I ain't gonna say all of them, but typically they have issues, and I think that's why they're interested in the subject, is because they personally have issues. Their interest has to do with their desire to figure out their own issues. It pertains to them, so it makes sense. I don't mean to be mean to them or say they're all crazy or anything. I'm just saying interest in a subject sometimes has to do with something very personal with a person. Don't these people know we can tell when they make stuff up? Apparently, not everybody. Traumatic brain injury has caused his fiction to become reality to him. Yeah. Who knows? If he truly believes he opened these people, they needed him to open the portal or help with the portal thing. Like the last of their people couldn't get here, and I helped them. I saved the last of this alien race from another planet. An alien race that looks just like a large hairy human. Just happens, don't look like something completely alien. It's hard to imagine something completely alien because our frame of reference is life on our planet. It's like, well, this thing looked like a squid. Well, we have squids here. This can't be that alien. It looks just like a squid, or looks like an insect. Well, we have lots of insects, and a lot of them are very weird. It's hard to imagine something truly alien because we have such a wide variety of life forms here. We just, we tend to have this egocentric view that intelligent beings have to look like us. There's absolutely no reason to think that. Look at some of the species here. I mean, most people would say like dolphins and elephants aren't as intelligent as us, but they're pretty damn smart. And who's to say a fully aquatic creature or an animal whose only appendage for manipulating objects, a quadrupedal alien, but look, that elephant has the tool to manipulate technology, to turn a wrench, press buttons, whatever, on his face. Doesn't have to be a bipedal, two-handed anything. And that's just limited to what we already have here. So, I don't know. For someone to think that Bigfoot came from another planet, it's just wild to me. It clearly looks like it's extremely closely related to us, if not the same species. Oh, hell no.
Tom Cruise will show up at the farm, man. Yeah. I'm going to load the shotgun. Find an article and all and send it your way. I don't recall all else, but it definitely makes your question the Exodus. Is that what he called it? The Bigfoot Exodus from Xenu or wherever the hell they came from. Dolphins and elephants have empathy for humans. It's pretty impressive to me. Dolphins bringing up people's cell phones after they dropped them. Elephants thanking humans for saving their baby. Yes. Yeah, there's so many cases. And with whales too. There's been some incidents, I guess, with whales saving humans, and dolphins. There's some people, I think it's in South America, where they work together with the dolphins to catch fish. The dolphins kind of drive them into the shore, and the people have the net. So between the two of them, they help each other catch fish. But see, this thing kind of ties into, with the dolphins, ties into the aquatic ape hypothesis that I was referring to earlier. Because humans have a lot of adaptations to a semi-aquatic living, and it'd be way too big a subject to get into tonight. But I have a feeling that the reason why dolphins react the way they do to us is because there was a time in our evolutionary past when humans and dolphins had a lot more partnership in the coastal regions than we do today. There's no evidence that I'm aware of that really proves that, but I have a feeling that one of these days we may find out and discover that there's something more going on there, that we have potentially a partnership that goes beyond that with dogs. I say beyond that with dogs because it predates the relationship, the symbiotic relationship between humans and dogs. I think what may have happened to us is when one of the cataclysms occurred, which I think is this last one. I think it was the Younger Dryas impact, really threw a monkey wrench into things, and supposedly sometime after that, 13,000 years ago, after that mark, humans really started having a partnership with dogs somewhere in there. It may have been before too, but I think it had to have really kicked in after that point because of the cataclysm that occurred. I'd almost bet that dolphin populations were knocked back too, so we were having way less interaction with them after that point. But they were basically, to us in the coastal regions before, this is just my hypothesis, but they were to us what dogs are to us now, but it was for a much longer period of time, and together we became more intelligent. So that interaction between the two helped us both to become more intelligent species. I would love to find more evidence or some evidence to support that, but I'm not going to hold my breath. But dolphins do seem to, we're not this alien thing to them that we really should be. Most animals don't have a clue. Even some predators, they'll see a human and they'll be like, well, that's just not something I eat. Like they say with sharks, for example, that typically it's a mistaken identity thing, that sharks don't typically want to eat humans because humans just aren't something that they're designed to eat. Well, been on here almost 2 hours. Is that it? Anybody got anything else? Man, I don't even want to. Hubbard, man. That's some crazy stuff right there. I'm going to take a look here. Oh, Brandy, or whoever it was earlier, I think it was Brandy, that mentioned the TV guide. Yeah, I already had it on there. I just hadn't started doing it yet. Which I'm fair. There's other shows that haven't really started there yet, but it says coming soon. Like those endless mysteries. Hopefully he starts. He just kind of reads stories, and hopefully he starts doing his show again. But it's Saturday. See who's coming on tonight. Paranormal Portal comes on at 9. I will not be going over there. UFO Man. It's kind of funny. That comes on at 8. Any minute now. And What the Paranormal is supposed to come on at 8. So there's some things to watch here in a minute if you guys want to go over there. I think I'm going to go ahead and end it. Thanks a lot. Something to squatch about. Well, thank you, Brent. Thanks for coming. I was starting to think nobody was going to show up. I was just going to talk to myself. Yeah. I made a. I guess I should talk about this some. I made a. It's in a spreadsheet format. I share it with anybody. I probably should grab the link. I'll put the link in chat here. I'm so used to not being able to put links in chats because I don't have the power. Hold on, let me get the link. And there. Okay, so there's like 80 plus shows on there. I was missing shows I wanted to see so much is when I started really kind of putting something together, and it just grew until now. When you see this, it is way the hell out of control, but it's a pretty neat tool to have. It's bookmark the address. It doesn't matter if you don't have iCloud; it should work for you. Bookmark the address. Don't bother downloading it because whenever I make an update to it, it instantly updates it on this address. So you'll instantly see the updates. If you download it and keep just a copy of it, you won't see the updates. So it's kind of pointless to download it. You can if you want to. I don't care. I'm sharing this freely with people, but I'm just saying that, bookmark the address and you'll always have the updated version. When you click on the link, it'll ask you for a name. Give whatever name you want. It doesn't matter. and then click join, and then a drop down menu will come down over on the right top, and it's collaboration or whatever. Just click somewhere else on the document away from that tab, and the tab will go away because there's no collaboration for it. It just kind of interferes if it's still there. But then you have access to it, and you'll see all these shows. And I'm well, to me, it's not that hard to be impartial. Anyone's show can be on there as long as they meet certain criteria. They need to be a live stream. It's for live streams only, not premieres, because I like it's specifically for shows where I have interactions with the host. I can actually get in chat and ask questions, which I can't now because, as we discussed earlier, I'm banned from some of them shows, but I'm still not going to take those shows off. I don't like those shows. They're really on my shit list, but they're still the type of show that belongs on there, so I'll leave them on there. Because other people still want to watch them. It's their business. And I don't want anyone to be able to accuse me of censoring the TV guide. I will put any show on there that fits the criteria. It needs to be a live stream show. It needs to be on YouTube. It needs to have at least some chat interaction. And I'll put it on there. So if you know of any shows that I don't got in there, just let me know, and I'll take a look at them and probably put them on there. There's a few, because the variety, shows vary so much that some things are kind of they don't quite fit, but they don't quite not fit. So sometimes they get on there, sometimes they don't. But I try to be as impartial and fair as I can with it, though. So, and hopefully everybody likes it and uses it, and it introduces people to other shows that they never heard of, because YouTube doesn't necessarily tell you about some of these, and some of these are small channels that need the press. So let's give it to them, and there's some pretty decent channels. If I was going to recommend one channel above all of them at this point, it's going to have to be Squatch Talk. It's going to have to be. I mean, it's the one channel that's driving home, logic, facts. Don't just believe any bullshit we hear. So yeah, definitely Squatch Talk. Pat Turner. I'm falling behind here. He has a whole guide in his section. There's the link you can cut. Yeah, I put the yeah, because I've always been telling people that, because I can't put the link, but I was just, wait a minute, I could put the link. This is my chat. I can put the link in this damn thing. Something you just started doing lives recently as well. I thought I heard you say the other day. You talking about something the Sasquatch about doing lives? Can I call you Sean? Okay, that's Sean. You were on I don't think he likes being called Whiny Bro, but Western New York today. And last night, you were on the show last night. All right, cool. Yes, Brandy, I have 5 episodes, but it's basically on whatever the guest can come on. Yeah, I'll make sure to put notifications. Haven't watched paranormal stuff in a while. Usually some debunkers, but even among the debunkers, there's drama. Yeah, I don't think we're going to escape the drama. There definitely seems to be a divide in the paranormal community, particularly in the Bigfoot and Dogman and all that stuff. I'm over 2 hours now. I need to Rein it in. Rein it in. Yeah, I love going on with Pat. It's always fun. Yeah. Um, and last night, the stuff he said to me at the beginning of the podcast, I mean, he's fair, you know. And even if he said, hey, sometimes you're a little much. Yeah, I agree. I don't think a lot of people are quite ready to be challenged as hard as I want to. I try to hold back, but decades of this shit. I am sick of it. Pat's a cool dude. I said that before you dropped the link. Yeah, I have fun with Joe. Yeah, I think Joe's kind of leaning over into that side, and more of the factual side. Hopefully, I hate to. I don't know what's going to happen with this. I mean, the division's probably never going to go away, so we can talk about it, do whatever we got to do to try and sort things out, I guess. I don't know. Thank you. Something to squatch about. You too. Have a good night. Yeah, it is, Brandy. We'll face it, and hopefully logic and common sense wins out in the end. So yeah, I think 2 hours is enough. I'm gonna try and do this. I'm gonna try and do this every week, as long as something doesn't prevent it. It's got to be consistent. So I still got a few bugs to work out on some things, but I think everything worked out okay. So I will talk to you all later. Thanks.